Hey, Mark Walters here, and we are with Ginger, and we're going to see if she wants some carrot. Do you want some carrot, Ginge? What do you think? Not so sure. Yes. Like most things, Ginger likes to eat them. We've all got to have a special skill, right, Ginge? And you are so good at yours. She practices every day. She should be an Olympian. If that were a category of just eating, I think she'd at least get a bronze. At least get a bronze. All right, well, in this video, I want to talk more about what we covered in the last video on can you really buy property with little or no money down, because I've been getting emails from people about that. And as I covered in the first video, for years people have been doing things like this. You've probably seen it online, you've probably seen it on television, things like that. I talked about using a lease, talked about using an option. I talked about the philosophy that investors use about controlling a property. As just, non-investors, we think about houses as, oh, I've got to buy that house. Well, as investors, we talk about controlling the property. And we do that with contracts. And not all contracts are created equally. What does that mean? That means when you're the seller or you're the buyer, you need to be looking at the verbiage in the contract to see which party in that contract is the verbiage benefiting more, because sometimes it might be benefiting the seller, other times it might be benefiting the buyer. And whether you're the seller or buyer, you want that verbiage to be benefiting you, and so you want to use specific contracts when you're the seller that benefit you, and other different types of contracts that benefit you when you're the buyer, so that you're always in a more powerful position. And that's one way that you control properties better. Now, another way that you can be buying property with little or no money down that people have been using for years, and again, I'm not giving legal advice here. You always want to make sure what the rules are currently, because I'm not sure when you're seeing this video. But people for years have been buying property subject to the underlying financing. So they might find a property owner that's very motivated to get out from underneath their payments. You've done your due diligence. You've seen that, hey, this is financing that you don't mind taking over, or you don't think another investor would mind taking over. And so you buy the property subject to the underlying financing, and then you take care of the payments going forward. Now, again, not giving legal advice here. Always make sure that you're doing things properly, and that's, for other trainings, of course. But it's another way that for years investors have been buying property with little to no money down, because you've got a motivated seller that really wants to get out from underneath that payment. And once they're out from underneath their payment, their life gets a whole lot easier in their mind. So you're trying to show them how you can be solving their problem, which at this point is paying that monthly payment. So a lot of times, depending on the situation, if there's some equity in the property, they might be willing to just walk and you get the equity. Other times there might be just a little bit of equity, but you might say, well, the market seems good, it might go up in value, this is a good neighborhood, it's a good property. Whatever the reasons are, you're doing your due diligence, you're making the decision, yeah, you want this property. Another thing, it might be just, hey, look, I missed last month's payment, I just want out from underneath this. You're like, great, you do the paperwork, you get the deed, you make up the back payment, and then you move on. Again, I didn't say, all deals, no money down. It might be just a little bit of money, but still it's a lot better than having to put a down payment down, going and getting new financing, all the fees, points, all those kinds of things. So these are just some ideas that people have used over the years when it comes to little money down and no money down deals. So I hope that gives you some insight, and start thinking about controlling properties with contracts that benefit you both when you're the buyer and then also when you're the seller. I'm Mark Walters, and I look forward to sharing more with you very soon. Oh. Yes. This pig never ends.